Hello, Mr. Partridge here. Good to see you again for one last time. This is my last act of worship of the year, and the theme I've been given this time is a theme that actually I feel really is really important. So I'm really pleased to have got this theme. So thank you, Mr. Jordan, and I hope I do a good job of it for you. So I'm going to start with a positive saying. It's something I used to have on my phone background actually for a period of time. I used to like it because I quite like sort of phrases and sayings. I think I've used plenty in my acts of worship before. And so this is one about positive thinking. Today is going to be a good day. I used to like it because in the morning I'd sort of see it, I'd check my phone maybe, and I'd think, right, okay, yep, that make me think positive things about the day ahead of me. And then if my day wasn't going particularly brilliantly, I sometimes look at it, or maybe I just sort of like go onto my phone and I'll be reminded of it, and I go, okay, yeah, today still can be a good day. I'm sure there's going to be some good stuff that comes out of today. And even on days that were going pretty disastrously, I still used to quite like it in its own strange way because actually then it becomes almost a ridiculous thing that used to make me smile or laugh. And so I'd look at it, and even though my day was completely rubbish, there's this phrase, today's going to be a good day. And there's me thinking, today's a really bad day. But actually then it would kind of make me laugh or smile and think a little bit about the saying at that stage too. So I used to really like it for a number of different ways my day could have gone for me, I guess. Because the theme I've got today to work with is positivity. And positive is really important for me. I think I hope maybe you think I do come across as a positive person, and that's something I've tried to thought a lot about over the years, really, about how to try and be positive in as many situations as possible, because I do honestly believe that leads to better outcomes generally for me and for the people around me. And so what is positivity? And there's a number of different things that we could think about. There's sort of people out there who earn their money, things like life coaches, thinking about sort of how to be more positive and get more self-belief. And so it's obviously a really big, wide field. But for me, I guess it comes down to actually one of the best words or things to think about associated with it is actually one of our school virtues, which is this idea of optimism. Now, optimism is these people or the ability to think positively about situations, either that we're in currently now or that we're going to be in the future. So in terms of predicting good outcomes, either a situation whether it's going badly or well or sort of like just averagely at the moment, yeah, the outcome's going to be good. Even if we don't get perfection, you know what? I'm going to be happy with where we get to. There's going to be some things from that I'm really pleased with. And that sort of lends into positivity as well, doesn't it? That again, whether it's gone perfectly or not, and when does life ever go perfectly, that it's still being able to find the positives in a situation, or still your first reaction to things being, what do I like about it? What's positive about it? And that idea about being positive is a part of positivity. And then the other thing, which can be one of the hardest bits really, is thinking about a situation can improve. We all end up in difficult and sometimes really difficult, really hard situations. And believing that at some stage that situation we'll get through it, we'll get past it. Whether that's a lot of things going wrong at the same time or one thing going really, really badly for us. And that believing that at some stage in the future things can be better again. So all those things sound like something that we obviously want to be. Those all sound like positive things. So why aren't we? Why do we have to try hard to be positive, really? And again, it's a very broad, wide topic, but I think one of the key things really is it's often easier to not be positive, and so we get drawn into negativity. And I think that those sort of like those reasons can be summarized really in terms of it's easier to be negative because there's less risk associated with negativity, less personal investment, less risk, and therefore we're more likely to do it because therefore there's less risk of failure. And so there's loads of examples of that, but it can be as simple as just like a test at school. So if you've got a test coming up in a few weeks' time, you can work really hard for that, or you could not. And obviously, if you don't work hard for it, you'll probably do really badly. And that will sort of like be okay because you'll be able to justify that to yourself. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm a really bad mark, but I never really tried anyway. I barely revised for that test. Because that you can justify to yourself what's happened in that test and the fact that you then don't have to think any more about how to improve that situation. Whereas if you try really hard, hoping to get a really good outcome, and then you do badly, that's a more difficult thing to take on the chin. And that's when your positivity can waver, because then you can start feeling negative, and that's a bad situation. I'm not any good at this subject. And then that's when you can get drawn back into negativity again, because then it's easier to say, well, I'm obviously rubbish, throw it all away. I'm not going to try anymore. Or you could try and be positive and approach that and try and get better. And what we know from pretty much every situation like that is if you try hard enough, you'll get there. It may not be an easy journey. It may not be a very short journey, but you'll get there. Whereas if you give up and put things to one side, you most certainly won't. So negativity is often a way that leads us into sort of becoming more negative and having less opportunities. So how can we be more positive? And I think it really, for me, it's coming back to that word about optimism, and the other things on the slide as well, really. It's about that belief that things can go better. Even if things have gone poorly for me this time, things can go better again in the future. And I think one of the things that we can get stuck with is optimism, get stuck with in terms of positivity. Is it always feels very hard for us, and you look at other people, and it's very easy to think that they have it much better. But actually, everybody fails all the time, and it's just we tend to dwell on our own failures more than we dwell on other people's, because they're the ones that kind of bother us and niggle us a little bit more. But there's a lot of phrases and sayings around this as well, and there's some really sort of famous quotes by a couple of people that I think are appropriate for this. And one of them is about taking opportunities. So you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So that's like Wayne Gretzky, one of the best hockey players of all time. And he talks a lot, he's gone on to do motivational speaking now, about the fact that about how you'll never achieve things if you aren't prepared to try. And failing is part of that. But actually understand that if you keep trying and trying and trying, you get more and more opportunities, and you tend to be better and better over time. And Michael Jordan's famous phrase associated positivity attached to him as well. And his is about this idea about all the times he's failed. He talks a lot about the fact that he has repeatedly failed in his career. Because he's considered one of the best basketball players of all time. And there's a documentary about him and the rest of the Chicago Bulls that were incredibly successful in the 90s. And actually, he's so driven that he comes across as a bit of a really difficult guy to be around. But actually, what you can really see is he continues to fail again and again at various points in there, but he gets back up and he tries again. So he sort of talks in an interview once about these sort of things, about the fact that although he's considered one of the best basketball players of all time, there's 26 times in his career where somebody's passing the ball. If he could make this next shot, the team would have won the game, and he's missed. And so that would have been really hard. There's probably been a bad story about him in the press later on. Jordan fails and all these other sort of things that could have felt really, really negative. Except he got back up and he went again the next day, and over the period of his career, he achieved many, many great things. And so it is easy to think that failure can knock us and that we're not good enough, but it's really, really important to hold on to the fact that with positivity, with positive thinking, trying to take opportunities, that actually that's how we get the best outcomes, even if along the way that can be harder at some particular times. So how can we be more positive then? What's the secret to being more positive? Obviously, if I could tell you that in a minute and a half or so, then I probably could earn a lot of money going to do it, changing my job. But these are some really key bits I think about that we can reflect on and think about now, really, I think. So how to be more positive, key for me, I think, is remembering what we're aiming for. Nothing ever goes to plan. And often you can end up getting a knock. Maybe you fail at something particularly. Maybe you go for a job and you don't get it the first time, and somebody else gets it. And that's not in the script. That's the job I'm supposed to get. And so you have to dust yourself off and think about, what am I aiming for? I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to get a position like that. Where else can I try? And believe that actually, that's destined not to be. I can be successful somewhere else. I'll try there. Or maybe even have to take a step down the ladder and try something as a step below that one. And then I can work myself up to that. Just remember what your final aim is and trying to think about the steps to get there. Focus on the small achievable goals. It's really, really hard. If you're going to set yourself this one amazing goal, you'll almost certainly never get there. And because actually that's not how we achieve goals. We achieve goals through lots of little things along the way. So try and lots of achievable goals, lots of what people call it quick wins that make you feel better, that build momentum, that get you nearer and nearer and nearer. And then actually by doing all those small achievable things, that's when we can achieve great things. So try and set yourself small achievable goals along the way to achieving that big target that you're aiming for at the end of it all. Be positive about others. That's a really important one for me. I think it's so important to try and be positive about other people because life is not easy. Other people's lives often look easy, but I think we know from our own sort of experience of how life is for us that it's never as easy as people think. And we'll all have our difficult times. And so actually just something that we can do as a community service to those people around us, but also to help ourselves as well. Because if other people are happier and doing better, then probably we will be as well. But being positive to other people is really, really a great thing that you can do, and something I'd really, really encourage all to do all the time as part of this. And the last one is fake it until you make it. And so that's a phrase that you hear around a lot, really. And the idea behind that really is the fact that actually, even at our hardest times, actually, if you keep telling yourself it's going to be all right, then you can convince yourself that's going to be okay. And actually, often just having some positivity, thinking things might be all right, then actually they can turn out to be so in the end. So even when you're feeling at your lowest, even when you're feeling really bad, sticking positive, pretending you're positive to others and those around you will often have a really great outcome and really benefit to the situation, and certainly help you feel better, even if things don't improve initially. So I'm just going to end with just a short reflection today, and I hope it's given you a bit of food for thought and you go away and think a little bit about it. I do so strongly believe that life is what you make of it, and an important part of that is if you want a positive, successful life, then you have to try and be positive, successful yourself all the time. That it won't be easy along the way, but certainly the more positive you can be, the more chance you have of it going as best as it can do. So I'm going to end with this, one of St. Paul's letters. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever it is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I hope it's been useful. I hope it's given you food for thought, and I really look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thanks very much. Bye for now.